Vedagayuk bhakti rasam pratnaya payamam vipsumandam kripam buddhi vyapara dukkha dukkhi Sanatanam tam prabhumashrayami Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Sadishi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Rup Sanatan Madhuraganath Shri Ji Gopal Bhattadasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare. First of all, I offer my Shastanga Level pranams, as well as be the past spiritual masters. Vitla Vishtam Vishnu Pada Stota Sada Shriman Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Vidya Vitla Vishtam Vishnu Pada Stota Sada Shriman Bhaktivedanta Shri Vam Goswami Maharaj Shri Vidya the entire Rupana Kari Guru Varga, the Dandisa has gone, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas present today. So today is a very auspicious tithi. What is it? The appearance day of Srimad Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. So he was one of the foremost disciples of Srila Prabhupada. He was the second sannyas initiate of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada initiated 18 sannyasis. Here all their names are mentioned here. Who are those 18 sannyasis? 18. Of course, all his disciples are like sannyasis, but he gave formal initiation to 18. So their names are mentioned here. You see here. Bhakti Pradeep, Srila Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Nashram Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Hridaya Bhamma Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Sarvasya Giri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Shri Rup Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Shri Rup Parvat Maharaj, Bhakti Sarup Parvat Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Sambal Bhavat Maharaj, Bhakti Gurudev Shauti Maharaj, Bhakti Gaurav Vaikanas Maharaj, Bhakti Prasun Bhattayan Maharaj, Bhakti Vilas Kavasti Nevi Maharaj, Bhakti Vaibhav Sagar Maharaj, Bhakti Tilak Trivikram Maharaj, Bhakti Prakash Aranya Maharaj, Bhakti Keval Audlumi Maharaj, Bhakti Sambandha Turyashrami Maharaj, Bhakti Sudhir Jajak Maharaj, and his last sannyasi was Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj. That was his last sannyasi. When Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj was supposed to take sannyas from Srila Prabhupada, he told Prabhupada that I am very young, I'm not even so old. He was like in his mid-20s, only 24 years old, like Mahaprabhu's age. And previously, along with his friend, he went to see an astrologer. And this astrologer, he looked at their hands and he said, both of you are getting married. There's no way you can be a Tyagi. There's no way either of you can remain a renunciate. I will write it down now, both of you are getting married. So then Prabhupada, after some time, when he met this young man, he told him, I'm giving you sannyas. Then he said, Prabhupada, but this person has said this for me. I'll get married eventually. Prabhupada said, you don't believe that Krishna can change your destiny. You don't believe in this. Maravi Rakhavi Joy Chatawar. Krishna Dasa Prati Turadika. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Krishna, if you wish, you can kill me or you can keep me alive. But you have all kinds of adhikar over me. Because I am your follower, your dependent. So then Jajavar Maharaj, he didn't think any further. His name was Sarveshwar Brahmachari. Prabhupada said, get ready, tomorrow I'm giving you sannyas. Then he gave him sannyas. Then after some years, Pujavad Jajavar Maharaj, he was preaching in one place and he met that same astrologer. And that astrologer saw him interested in saffron with his danda. And he said, you're that same brahmachari I met some years before who had promised that you would get married. But how is it that you became a sannyasi? And his other friend who went to see that astrologer, he married. He got married. But Jajavar Maharaj, he had full faith in Prabhupada. He said, all right, if Krishna can change my destinies, then so be it. So then this astrologer, he looked at his effulgent and he said, who is that personality who is your spiritual master? Who gave you sannyas? I want to meet him. Because my predictions, they never go wrong. They're always 100% correct. But here in this case, it has gone wrong. I want to meet him. We said, my spiritual master has already left this world. He is no longer present here. So then that person, he was so sorry that he couldn't meet Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada was such an authority, such a spiritual powerhouse, changed the destiny of anyone, even people who are about to die, even they receive new life by Prabhupada's blessings. There are some instances, if you read this book, that some disciples even went to Yamloka, the abode of Yam Maharaj. And Yam Maharaj, he looked at the Yamdutas, he said, you got the wrong person here. This person has taken shelter of this great spiritual personality, take him back. His time is not yet. No, he has more time. They would send that person back. Because there's some people, some disciples, after Prabhupada left, they became bewildered and they gave everything up. And they compromised on their spiritual principles. So then, as an end result, then the Yamdutas came. But because they had taken shelter of a Satguru, even Yam Maharaj said, he is not within my jurisdiction. He's beyond. Take him back. Take her back. In one case, one woman went to Yamloka. Not just a man, a woman, female disciple went there. And she was also given another chance. So Prabhupada, he initiated all these sannyasis, all these brahmacharis, all these vanaprasthas, and he created a huge spiritual revolution all over India, completely unheard of. Completely unheard of. For example, there was, whenever society would recognize a Brahmin, they would only see his Brahmin thread. They wouldn't recognize a Brahmin for his qualities. They would only recognize a Brahmin by his appearance. If he had a shika, if he had a Brahmin thread. But if the same person was seen smoking bidis or cigarettes, associating with women, even eating fish, meat, still he would be considered a Brahmin. And society would also look at him as a Brahmin. But Prabhupada, he said, no, such a person can never be called a Brahmin. A Brahmin is one whose mind is always absorbed in that Parabrahma, in Krishna and Bhagavan. He is a Brahmin. Others, if one is saying he's a Chaturvedi, Trivedi, Divedi, Sharma, Bandopadhyay, Upadhyay, Chattopadhyay, all these things, Bhattacharya, but still he's not following any rules, any regulations, any principles. How can that person call himself a Brahmin? Prabhupada said, never. I will never call such a person a Brahmin. Rather, even if one is born in a low-caste family, but if he's following the Brahminical principles, then he's a Brahmin. And so many of his disciples weren't even born in Brahmin families. Param Gurudev wasn't born in a Brahmin family. Swami Maharaj also wasn't born in a Brahmin family. So many. But still, can you say they're not Brahmins? They're more than Brahmins. They're like the teachers of all the Brahmins. Like Prabhupada, when he was glorifying one of his disciples, his name was Atul Chandra Bandopadhyay, who later became Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. So Prabhupada, when he was glorifying him, he said, you are Atul Chandra, means you are Atul, means you are unparalleled in your purity, in your honesty, in your Guru Seva, in your Vaishnava Seva, in your Nishtha towards Mayapur. That is why you are Atul. And you are Chandra, means the moon has many spots, but you don't have any spot, means your character is spotless, unblemished. You are Banda Upadhyay, means Banda Upadhyay means like Banda means those who are meant to be worshipped. So who are they? The Vaishnavas. And you are Upadhyay, means you are the teacher even for such Vaishnavas. So in such cases, although Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj was born in a Brahmin family, he was indeed a Brahmin. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj was born in a Brahmin family. Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Hridai Manu Maharaj, Bhakti Kamal Madhusudan Maharaj, Bhakti Dait Madhav Maharaj. The list goes on. So they were also bona fide Brahmins, in spite of being born in Brahmin families. And those who weren't born in Brahmin families, they were also bona fide Brahmins. They were Vaishnavas. And when Prabhupada started this revolution, so many people were against him. So many. Like there was one person in Bengal, his name was Panchanan Tarakaratna. Tarkaratna. Panchanan Tarkaratna, this person. such a scholar, and he was like one of the greatest scholars Bengal had ever produced. He had translated all the Puranas into Bengali, all the Vedas into Bengali, all the Upanishads into Bengali. All the scriptures that he could get his hands on, he translated into Bengali. And he became an opponent of Srila Prabhupada. He said, what is this? He's minimizing our prestige, our heritage. Now any person can claim that he is a Brahmin. So he was very offended. Now there is no consideration of one's birth in a Brahmin family, no consideration of caste, creed, tradition. Now any person is given this Brahmin thread. So he opposed Prabhupada so much. It's Panchavan Tarka Ratna. But then one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples was just a young man. His name was Haigriv Brahmachari. Who was Haigriv Brahmachari? Who did he later become? He later became Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. So then he went and he told this person, this scholar, okay, both of us will have a discussion. And let's see whose conclusion is substantial. Is logical. So then Haigriv Brahmachari, he got all the arguments of this scholar. And this scholar, he was a Vayovritta Brahmin, means he was in his 80s. And Haigriv Brahmachari was in his 20s. And he got all the arguments of this scholar. And to add insult to injury, this discussion that took place was also published in the newspaper. It was published in the newspapers all over Bengal. So he became even more angry. That this young man, he insulted me like this in front of everyone. This is where preaching began in Prabhupada's Gaudiya Math. Like we see, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, his name was Sanatan Prabhu, who later became Bhaktivedanta Muni Maharaj. So his daughter was supposed to marry another person who was from a very reputed family. But when the family of this boy found out that he was the father of Srila Prabhupada, Sanatan Prabhu, then he cancelled the marriage. He said, how can I marry my son to such a person who's following Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada? On the day of the marriage, it was cancelled. On the day of the marriage. The feast was made, everyone was invited there to the marriage ceremony. Everything was done. But then it was cancelled. So then Sanatan Prabhu, what did he do? He was very stoic in his response. It means he was very composed, very sober. He did not cry, he did not say a word, nothing. Rather, whatever had been cooked, he loaded everything in a bullock cart and he started bringing everything to the temple. And all the brahmacharis in the temple, they start clapping their hands. Oh, today's a nice feast. Now we're getting nice rasgullas, malpua, sabji, basmati rice. They were very happy. And Prabhupada, he called Sanatan Prabhu aside. He said, what happened? And he said, oh, this is what happened. And Prabhupada said, such a society should be destroyed. He said that 3 times. It should be destroyed, it should be destroyed, it should be destroyed. And then, after some days, Sanatan Prabhu, he was thinking, how can I get my daughter married? And then he found another boy who was even more qualified, even more well-mannered than the previous one. And he married her daughter. So in this way, even Grihasthas were not spared. Normally we think that the Tyagis, they get, the Tyagis are attacked the most. But here we see even householders, even Grihasthas also. They were also not spared in his mission. But now we see the fruits of his mission everywhere. So one of his disciples was Pujyapat Bhakti Goswami Maharaj. He was born in Bangladesh, Jessore district. Many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples were born in Bangladesh. Like our Param Gurudev, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Daik Madhav Maharaj, Bhakti Hridai Bam Maharaj. So many others were born there. Because when Mahaprabhu was only 15 or 16 years old, he actually went to East Bengal. Because he had to earn some money to maintain the family. So Mahaprabhu, he took all the students there to East Bengal and he would arrange all these different classes for Sanskrit. He would teach Sanskrit to all these people, and whatever dakshina he would receive, he would collect that and he would help all the Navadvipasis, including his own family. So that place is blessed with the footprints of Mahaprabhu, with the foot dust of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why so many honored, esteemed personalities appeared from this region, East Bengal. So when he appeared, his name was Amala Kanta. Amala Kanta. Amal means what? Amala Harinam Amiya Vilas. Amala means something which is very pure, very spotless. So this name was very befitting. He is very spotless in his character. Amala Kanta. So then this young man, he started associating with one Vaishnava called Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's god brother, because he was a disciple of Vipin Bihari Goswami. Bhaktivedanta Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was also a disciple of Vipin Bihari Goswami, according to the Pancharatrigi line. But according to the Bhagavad line, whose disciple was Bhaktivinoda Thakur? According to the Bhagavad Parambara, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he always thought of Bhaktivedanta Thakur as a Siksha Guru. Even Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he came to Srila Prabhupada through Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Because all these kirtans that Bhaktivedanta Thakur had written, Sharanagati, Yamun Bhavavali, Gitavali, Gitamala, all these kirtans he would give to Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and he would sing them in villages. He would go from one village to another. Because Bhaktivedanta Thakur started this Namhatta program. Namhatta means Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he would tell all the villagers that all of you come here in one place, assemble, we do kirtan together. I'll speak Harikatha, all of you kindly listen. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur, this is how this grassroots preaching began. He would go from one village to another, to another, to another. This everywhere this preaching spread. Because Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he had given this order to Bhaktivedanta Thakur, that preach this Gaurvani. Fulfill the desires of Mahaprabhu. This is called Gaur Kam. Serve the Dham of Mahaprabhu. Gaur Dham, this is Mayapur. And preach this Gaur Prem everywhere. So the first ashram Bhaktivedanta Thakur established was in one place in Bengal called Amla Joda. This was called the Prapanna Ashram. This Bhaktivedanta Thakur established when he met Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj there. There they observed Ekadashi for 3 days. In that Prapanna Ashram. What is the meaning of Prapanna Ashram? Ashram means ashray, where one gets shelter. And Prapanna means the place where one offers himself or herself. So this was the precursor to the Gaudiya Math. Normally we think Gaudiya Math was the original institution, but it is not the Gaudiya Math. It is the Prapanna Ashram. And then came the Gaudiya Math. And then came all the other different institutions that we see. So the root was the Prapanna Ashram. So this way Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he would also come there and attend all the classes of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So then Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he met this young man, Amalakanta, and he would speak so much Harikatha to him, give classes from all the scriptures. And he was very much drawn to this personality, Amalakanta. Then he said, I wish to meet Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. But Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, Bhaktivedanta Thakur has actually left this world. He left when? 1915. Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he left in 1914. Bhaktivedanta Thakur left 1 year later. Or maybe in 1 year earlier, I think. 1 year later, 1915. But Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, I will help you meet one personality who is not less than Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Who is equal to him actually, in that spiritual understanding. Who is he? His son. His illustrious son. Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das Bimala Prasad. So then Prabhupada, he would come preaching there to Bangladesh in many different places like Barisala, Jessore, Kulna district, Chittagong, Chattogram, all these different places. So then when he came to this Kulna district, there Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, he had the darshan of Srila Prabhupada for the first time. Then he saw this very grave personality surrounded by all his disciples. Nijasevaka Taraka Chandra Vidum Vidutanta Hunkrita Singavaram Varanagata Balisha Shanda Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. Means Prabhupada is like the moon surrounded by all the stars. Nijasevaka Taraka Ranji Vidum Vidutahita Hunkrita Singavaram. And when he would speak Harikatha, he would be roaring like the lion. Like a lion, cutting everyone's arguments. When he would speak Harikatha in English, even Englishmen could not understand his Harikatha. It would be so profound. Like once, Param Gurudev was listening to Prabhupada's Harikatha, and one English officer, he came to Param Gurudev and he said that this person who's speaking, who's giving this discourse, I feel that I've never heard any other person speak like him. An English officer, he told Param Gurudev, Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. So then Vinod Bihari Brahmachari said, why? Why have you arrived at this conclusion? That what he's saying is the best that you have ever heard from. But then this Englishman, he said, I've heard from so many different people. I've gone all across the globe. I've heard from all the different kinds of scholars, figures, authorities, public representatives, teachers, lecturers, professors. But this person, I've heard him speak for 1 hour now, and not understood anything that he said. Not understood anything. Nothing, he said. He said, in spite of me being an Englishman, English is my language, and Prabhupada is Indian, his mother tongue is Bengali or Sanskrit, and he's speaking in our language. English is the language of the colonizers. England, when they colonized India, they imposed English on all the Indians. So India was colonized. So it is the colonizer's language. But still, he's speaking to us in our own language, and I can't understand anything he said. So Prabhupada will speak like that. Very profound Harikatha. Only those who are very much absorbed in listening to his Harikatha, they could understand something, or else nothing. So this way, Amalakanta, he heard Prabhupada speak and he was so happy. At that time, Prabhupada had also established one temple in Dhaka. Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh. There he established one Gaudiya Math called Sri Madhva Gaudiya Math. He established the temple after Madhvacharya. And initially, when Prabhupada wanted to establish the Gaudiya Math there, the local Hindus actually protested. They said, oh, don't. They told the Muslim person who was in charge, who was the district magistrate, they told the Muslim man, don't let him get land here. He's doing many things which are against our Hindu customs, Hindu rituals. So then the local Hindu population, they thought that they can convince this Muslim magistrate to stop Prabhupada from buying this land here in Dhaka. And who wouldn't want to stop him? If you think from a neutral point of view, the Muslim magistrate, he is thinking that the Hindus themselves are complaining against their own guru, so I shouldn't give land. But then, when this Muslim magistrate saw Prabhupada, spoke to him, Prabhupada explained what his mission was, he was completely struck by him, by his teachings, by his spirit. And then he sanctioned the land there. He said, I don't care for any of these people, he sanctioned the land. And then the temple was built there. Brahma, the Madhva Gaudiya Math. So there, Puja Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, he would come there to listen to Srila Prabhupada's Harikatha. It's still there. In spite of so many things that happened there they even broke the deities, the Muslim mobs. They broke the deities so many times there. And they had to reinstall the deities also. They even killed brahmacharis there. And they were going to rampage, they would pinpoint that temple. Because that temple was in the heart of the city. So all their fury, all their anger was directed there in that temple. They would slaughter cows, put the cows outside the temple, the slaughtered remains of the cows. They tried chasing the brahmacharis away there so many times, but they stood their ground. They never left that place. And now, this temple is very reputed in Dhaka now. Now they have police protection. So if any Muslim mob comes, the police is there to protect them. And now so many preachers go there to preach, to speak Harikatha. So many devotees have come from that place. I've met so many brahmacharis who were like originally the inhabitants of Dhaka. And listening to the Harikatha there from the sannyasis and the brahmacharis, they became devotees. So they said, Bharati Maharaj, he heard Prabhupada's Harikatha there. And then Prabhupada, he told him, what is the essence of this human form of life? Labdha sudurlabam idam bahu sampavante. Manushya martadam anityam api hadira. Ya durnam yate napate anumrityavan nisheshaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. Means this human form of life is not just rarely attained, it is very rarely attained. Labdha sudurlabam idam bahu sampavante. It is very rarely attained. In spite of that, Manushyam Artadam Anityam Api Hadira. All that is Anitya. It is temporary. Any moment we can die. But still it can give the supreme Paramartha. Therefore, Turnam Yate Napate Anumrittu Yavan. As long as this body has not fallen down, you must strive for that ultimate goal of life. Nishresha Vishaya Kalu Sarvatasyat. This Visha is available in all the different species of lives as well. So why should you as a human being try for that same thing? So when Puja Bharati Maharaj heard Prabhupada speaking this way, he was very struck. It was like Shabda Brahma. This was like these words emanating from the spiritual world. Then immediately he decided to offer his life to Srila Prabhupada. And he was actually married. He was married, he had a wife, he was a Grihastha. Immediately he told Prabhupada, I'm yours now. I'm yours, you're mine, I know nothing else. So then Prabhupada, he told him, all right, now you go and you serve in Calcutta, in the temple there. Because his family was in Dhaka. So he stayed a little distance away from there. So he was staying there in Calcutta serving Srila Prabhupada. So one day there was a huge storm. It was raining so much. And there were no sevaks there in the temple in Calcutta. And the pujari, he told Srila Bharati Maharaj that I'll have to offer bhoga to Thakurji in the afternoon. Bhoga arti should be done, but the paths are not cleaned, nothing has been cooked. What should we do? I have so many services in the temple room there. And Bharati Maharaj, he told the pujari, you don't worry, I'll do everything myself. Even though it was raining so much, in Bengal, if you've seen the rain, it is no joke. It is not like the rain here that we see in Vrindavan. Here it rains for some time, like a drizzle, and then it stops. But in Bengal, if it rains for like weeks on end, continuously. So it was raining there so much. But then Bharati Maharaj, immediately he ran to the market, he brought some vegetables, he cooked everything himself, like 6-7 kinds of items. And then he washed all the pots himself, and then he offered it to the pujari. And the pujari, he offered it to Thakurji. So when Prabhupada saw this, that he had done everything by himself, that he washed the pots himself, he cooked everything himself, then Prabhupada said, I want to give you something. And he said, Prabhupada, what? I want to give you sannyas. And he gave him sannyas after some time, on Ras Purnima in Vrindavan. And then Prabhupada, he'd have him go preach everywhere. So Bharati Maharaj, he was a larger than life personality. If you've seen him, if you've seen the pictures, it is said he was like more than 6 feet tall. He was very heavily built, very muscular, very larger than life. And when he would speak, he had a thunderous voice like the clouds rumbling. It is said that once Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, when he returned from the west, he brought 2 German devotees with him to Calcutta. At that time there was a huge crowd there gathered, a huge crowd. And this crowd was creating like so much nuisance. Prabhupada wanted to speak Harikatha, but this crowd was like not letting him speak Harikatha. There was such a commotion there. So then Bharati Maharaj, he stood up and he said, all you people are so useless. Can you not see that my spiritual master is here? He wants to enlighten each and every one of you, and all of you are paying no heed to his words. Remain silent. He said, don't speak one single word now. Then there was pin drop silence, and all of them became silent. Then Prabhupada started speaking Harikatha. Bharati Maharaj, sometimes he would even beat the brahmacharis, it is said. Like Siddhanti Maharaj, we heard, sometimes he would slap him, beat him, but still, he had so much love for them. He would beat them, next moment he would speak so sweetly to them. And even his senior, even the godbrothers who took sannyas with him, they were also not spared. Like one of his godbrothers, who was also sannyasi, who had received sannyas from Srila Prabhupada, he was preaching with Srila Bhakti Maharaj. And then this sannyasi was very sick. So he used some of that money that they had used for preaching. That time when they would preach, they would get like 2 paisa, 3 paisa, 5 paisa. So he used like 6 paisa of that money to buy some milk. He was very sick, this sannyas godbrother. To buy some milk, he used that money. And then he drank that milk. So then Pujya Bharati Maharaj, he said, where have you been? He said, oh, I went to buy some milk, I have a high fever, I'm very sick. So Bharati Maharaj said, where did you get that money from to buy that milk? Because at that time, all these tyagis, sannyasis, their bank account was their pocket. Whatever money they had in their pocket, that was their bank account. They never saved any money for themselves, nothing. So then, this sannyasi, he told Srila Bharati Maharaj that money that we collected yesterday in some village, I used 6 paisa of that money to buy some milk. Then Bharati Maharaj, he looked at the sannyasi and he said, it would have been better if you had drank your own urine. and using that money that we collected for Prabhupada to buy milk. So serious he was. Very strict personality. And this way, when he would go preaching, he would never flatter anyone. He would never please anyone. He would speak the truth. Once he was preaching to the king of Kuch Bihar. In Bengal, there is one place called Kuch Bihar. Like if you go past Navadip, then there is Matabanga, Devrugar, Kuch Bihar, all these places. In Kuch Bihar also, our Param Gurudev is here. He has established a Gaudiya Math there. Srinarottam Gaudiya Math. So when he went to Kuch Bihar, there was this king. And the king wasn't so interested in listening to Maharaj. But his wife, the queen, she was very religious. So then she said, all right, Maharaj, you come and speak some Harikatha. So then when Maharaj started speaking Harikatha to her, he blasted her. He said, you think you're the queen now, you're enjoying so many different kinds of luxuries, you're surrounded by opulence, surrounded by so many servants, maid servants, but will you have the same facilities in your next life as well? Can you guarantee? Can you tell me that you'll have these same things in your next life? And she said no. And he said, why are you wasting your life in such enjoyment, in such pleasures? Give it up. Do Hari Bhajan. So no one had spoken to this queen in such a way. Then the queen, she fell at the feet of Maharaj and she said, Maharaj, my whole life I've only been used to people flattering me. People, they always come and they always keep flattering me. Saying, oh, you're like this, you're like that, you're so generous, you're so pure, you're so chaste. But no one has ever dared to speak to me like how you have done. I'm very thankful to you, she said. And then Bharati Maharaj, he took her to meet Srila Prabhupada. And she became Srila Prabhupada's disciple. And she helped so much in Prabhupada's preaching mission. So this way, Prabhupada, when he'd go to any gathering, religious gathering, first he would have Srila Bharati Maharaj speak and then he would speak. He would tell Srila Bharati Maharaj, first you introduce our mission, you introduce the purpose of the Gaudiya Math, and then I will speak. And then when there'd be a meeting of scholars, Prabhupada, he'd have Pujapat Bhaktivilas Gavasti Nemi Maharaj speak there. Nemi Maharaj would speak in the assembly of scholars, and the assembly of where general people would come together, there Bharati Maharaj would speak. So instead Bharati Maharaj, he'd go everywhere and he brought so many different devotees to Prabhupada, so to speak. He brought so many people who all became either brahmacharis, vanaprasthis, grahasthis, sannyasis, but under the care of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada even had disciples from Kerala. Kerala is the southernmost state in India. It's at the very bottom of India. He even had disciples from there. There is one brahmachari from Kerala. There was one. His name was Gaur Gunananda Brahmachari. When Prabhupada was speaking to some person, very reputed figure, and he looked at him and he said, you know where this boy is from? He's from Kerala. His name is Gaur Gunananda. He had brahmacharis from Andhra Pradesh, called Jagannath Prabhu. He had brahmacharis from Tamil Nadu. He had brahmacharis from every state in India. Prabhupada. That was how widespread his preaching was. So then, after Prabhupada left, which was Bharati Maharaj, he started staying in Jagannath Puri. And there he was staying in one place called Bani Bhavan. This place was given to him by the Queen of Odisha. Because when Prabhupada established one temple in Cuttack called the Sachidananda Gaudiya Math, it was this lady who sponsored the construction of the temple. So that Bharati Maharaj was also preaching. So this lady, she was very impressed by his preaching. So when she found out that Bharati Maharaj has no place to live also, he's living in some hut. You see, he has given more than 20 years of his life to Prabhupada's mission. And after Prabhupada left, he didn't take one single paisa also from Prabhupada's mission. He left empty-handed. Nothing with him. He has served so much, but did he demand anything from his spiritual master? You write some property in my name, put some money in my bank account, nothing. Penniless he left. So then this lady, when she found out that Bharati Maharaj has no place to live in, then she kindly requested him. She requested him very sweet words, please let me arrange something for you. Then Bharati Maharaj said, if it is Jagannath's desire, then you can arrange something. Then she arranged this building for him, this Vani Bhavan, which was right next to Haridas Thakur's Samadhi. So there, for the next 10 years, he was doing Madhukari Bhiksha every day, going house to house, doing bhajan, chanting 3 lakh Harinam like Haridas Thakur. Then one day, he received one letter. So this letter, as soon as he opened it, he saw that it was written by his dear godbrother, who? Pujabad Bhakti Shrirup Siddhanti Maharaj. So as we know, Siddhanti Maharaj, he was offered into the hands of Srila Bharati Maharaj by Prabhupada. So he was his beloved Siksha Guru. So Siddhanti Maharaj, in that letter, he had written, he said that Maharaj, I haven't seen you for so many years. If you will not come and see me in Calcutta now, I will give up my life. He said, kindly please come. Cannot bear this separation from you any longer. So then Bharati Maharaj, he left Jagannath Puri to see his godbrother there in Calcutta. And then they decided that they would establish a society to preach this mission of Prabhupada. And that society is called Saraswat Gaudiya Asam. And they only have 4 temples. Originally they had 3 temples. One in Jagannath Puri, one in Calcutta, one in Navadip. The 4th temple is in Vrindavan, which was recently given to them. Because Pujya Siddhanti Maharaj, when he opened this temple in front of the Madan Mohan temple, then his godbrother, his senior godbrother, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he told Siddhanti Maharaj that, oh, you have such a beautiful temple. I have no place here in Vrindavan, so I'm so happy that you have a place. So then Siddhanti Maharaj, he looked at him and he said, Maharaj, this is your temple. He had just opened that temple just a few days back. He said, Maharaj, you don't have a place, so what is the meaning if I have a place, then you keep this temple. So he gave that temple away to Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. Then after some years, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj's disciples, they had this temple here, this Radha Vinod Gaudiya Math. Then they gave that temple to the disciples of Siddhanti Maharaj, that you can all stay here. So then this is the 4th temple that they have. They only have 4 temples. But still, every temple, you see the standard there. It is so high. Even now, only the sannyasis, they do archan there. In Navadip, in Jagannath Puri, in Calcutta. In Vrindavan, they don't have any sevaks, so the brahmacharis do it. But in these 3 main temples, only the sannyasis do archan. Only they do the cooking, they do all the main services there. This we heard this in Harikatha over the years. So this way, Bharati Maharaj, along with his godbrother, he started his preaching mission there. So then, he decided that he would establish a temple in Jagannath Puri as well. There was one land there, near the Tota Gopinath temple. If you go to the temple in Jagannath Puri, it is so beautiful. There are so many dioramas there, so many beautiful paintings there. Our Rasananda Prabhu, his elder brother, used to paint there. Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj, his elder brother, he used to come and paint there. And the elder brother, he would go to his family and he would tell everything. Oh, today I painted a picture of Radha Krishna. Today I painted a picture of Mahaprabhu, Narsingadev. So the younger brother, who was Rasananda Prabhu, he heard this. Then he came to see the temple and he joined the temple then. And then he became Maharaj's disciple. So this way, that temple, originally the land there, Pujya Bharati Maharaj, he wanted some of his sevaks to go to Calcutta and find the owner of this place, the owner of this land, so that they could approach him and buy that land from him. So then he told his 2 disciples, you go there, and the first person, you go there and try looking for that person in Calcutta. So then these 2 brahmacharis, they were thinking, Maharaj, how can we look there? Calcutta is a place of millions of people, crores of people. Who can we possibly approach? And Bharati Maharaj said, this is the problem with all of you. You have no faith in Krishna. You try to have faith. Now, get on a train, and as soon as you get off the train, as soon as you set foot in the Howrah station, the first person you see, you ask that person that who is the owner of this land here in Jagannath Puri. The first person you see. Then these brahmacharis are thinking, what is our Guru Maharaj saying? Does it make any sense? That as soon as we get off in the Howrah railway station, the first person we see, we should ask him that tell us who the owner of this land is. And they were like, Maharaj, this doesn't make sense, but they didn't say anything. Because if they would say anything, then they would get this. So they didn't say anything. So then what did they do? They got onto that train. And just as their spiritual master had said, they did. As soon as they got off the train, they saw one person, they said, excuse me, please come here. And this person, he said, what do you want? This person was also completely unaware of what they wanted. And they said, oh, there is some land there in Jagannath Puri. We want to know who the owner of this land was. So first the brahmacharis thought this man might think that they're crazy, that they're asking him this question. Then he looked at these brahmacharis and he said, can you pinpoint the location of that land? And they said, oh, near here, near Tota Gopinath, behind this gully, that gully. Then that man looked at them and he said, actually that land belongs to me, he said. That land, it belongs to me. So now I'll give you that land, he said, for such and such price. And that land was given to Bharati Maharaj and temple was made there. And the same thing happened even in Calcutta. In Calcutta, they have a temple there on Hazrat Road. So when the temple was built, Siddhanti Maharaj, he looked at Srila Bharati Maharaj and he said, Maharaj, we built such a nice temple here, but we don't have deities here. What do we do? What should we do? And Bharati Maharaj said, all right, send one brahmachari to Kalighat. So Kalighat is one locality in Calcutta, on the bank of the Ganga. Tell that brahmachari that Radha and Krishna are waiting for us underneath a peepal tree on the bank of the Ganga. So then it was like a very mysterious instruction. They didn't know what Maharaj was saying. So then this brahmachari, he was sent there. And sure enough, what did he see? He found the deities of Radha and Krishna underneath the peepal tree on the bank of the Ganga. And those Radha and Krishna deities were installed there. And to this day, these deities are being worshipped and everyone can have darshan. Normally, devotees go to Jaipur and they have the deities made there and then installed inside the temple. But these temples are Swayambhu, means they appeared only for the sake of Maharaj. And he installed these deities there. So Maharaj, he actually disappeared in the middle of I think he disappeared in 1956 or 57. He didn't stay long. He disappeared then. And so many Vaishnavas, whoever had seen him, even once, they said it had such a lasting impression in their hearts. Gurudev also had his darshan. Gurudev also, if you listen to some of his old classes, he speaks so much about Pujya Bharati Maharaj. Gurudev didn't have much of his association, but whatever little association he had, he remembered that for the rest of his life. Like Gurudev, he had the association of Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu only for 3 months. Gurudev said that in Harikatha. Because Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu, he disappeared in 1948, in the month of January. And Gurudev, he had joined the temple at the end of 1946. And he didn't stay in Navadvip for long as well, because Gurudev would go preaching with Param Gurudev. So he only had Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu's association for 3 months. And he said, although I had his association only for 3 months, those 3 months of association had made me follow this path of Krishna consciousness for the rest of my life, he said. Only 3 months of his association, observing his purity, observing his Vaishnava Seva, it made such a lasting impression on me that to this day, I'm sitting in front of all of you and speaking Harikatha, he said. They said Bharati Maharaj also was such a Vaishnava, such a caliber of a Vaishnava. So here, there is like one letter that Prabhupada had written to Srila Bharati Maharaj. He wrote that in Bengali, but here they translated into Hindi. And there Prabhupada is saying that all the mundane poets of this world, what do? They describe Jadaras. Means they describe all these mundane sentiments of prema. But you are a transcendental poet. Prabhupada has glorified him in this letter. Because Prabhupada would have these assemblies in Mayapur called the Navadvip Pracharini Sabha. So in these assemblies, what would he do? He would glorify his disciples. He would give them a certificate called Gaur Ashirvad Patra. And this certificate would be written entirely in Sanskrit. And the gist of that letter would be his appreciation for the service rendered by each of his disciples. And it was written in Sanskrit. Like even the Sanskrit letter that he wrote for Srila Param Gurudev is also published in this book. So here, Prabhupada in Sanskrit is glorifying his disciple, saying, you are preaching this Gauravani everywhere. You are preaching this transcendental poetry of our Guru Varga. Means the Kirtans of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Narottam Thakur, Lochandas Thakur. This constitutes real poetry. This is the real meaning of Kirtan. Not that mundane songs are sung. These transcendental songs should be sung. In this way, Prabhupada, he signed the letter as well. And Bharati Maharaj, it is said here, he also published Uddhav Samvad, the conversation that Uddhav and Krishna had in the 11th canto. And also, he published the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the Bhagavad Gita. And it was on the basis of this commentary that Gurudev, he published the Bhagavad Gita in Hindi. Because the Bhagavad Gita that Srila Swami Maharaj published was based on the commentary of Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu. And then Gurudev published the book which had the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So this was his inspiration, which was Bharati Maharaj's books. Also Bharati Maharaj, he published these 3 books which are like the life and soul of every Gaudiya Vaishnava. What are they? Ujjwal Neelamani Kiran, Bhagavatamrit Khana, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Bindu, written by Srila Chakravarti Thakur. So he published these books in Bengali, and then Gurudev, he translated them and published them in Hindi. And now they're in English as well. We have Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Bindu, we have Ujjwal Neelamani Kiran, but we don't have Bhagavatamrit Khana. That's not been translated in English. This way he was very proficient in his literary contribution as well. Ujjwal Bharati Maharaj. So here he has many nice instructions also that he has given, his Upadeshavali, his Upadeshamrit. Here he is saying that Bhagavan, who is completely independent, is only subjugated by pure bhakti. So therefore, how can that pure bhakti be had? Only by being under the guidance of his bhaktas, only by having the association of his sadhus. The association of the bhaktas and the mercy of the bhaktas is the very seed of devotion. Means what is had by them? Faith. Bhakta kripa aur bhakta sang mein bhakti lata beej rupi shraddha prapt hoti hai. Means the seed of pure devotional service is had by the association of the devotees. And then by serving the devotees, the seed of faith, the shraddha rupi beej, gradually blossoms into a creeper of devotional service. The mercy of Sri Guru is the mercy of Sri Bhagavan. Sri Gurudev, he is the embodiment of Hari Kirtan. Only under his guidance can we possibly spend the rest of our lives doing Hari Kirtan. Transcendental knowledge, अपराकृत वस्तु ज्ञान बुद्धि के अतीत एवं इंद्रियज ज्ञान आदि के तर्कातीत है. He's saying that the transcendental entity, Bhagavan, he is beyond the perception of our intelligence, of our mind, of our senses. You cannot exhibit your pride, your valor, your scholarship in trying to understand such transcendental subjects. Only by being under the guidance of a pure devotee, by being in the association of such sadhus, and by surrendering to Bhagavan, can you possibly achieve his mercy. The human form of life is very rarely attained, and it is also very temporary. Therefore, one who is intelligent, he will spend every moment of his life practicing Hari Bhajan. Because only in the human form of life can Hari Bhajan be executed. Only by worshipping Sri Hari can this human form of life be made successful. अन्य जन्म एवं देह में सहज रूप से सब कुछ भोग मिलते हैं, किंतु मनुष्य देह के अतिरिक्त हरि भजन का सौभाग्य नहीं मिलता. Except for the human form of life, there is no opportunity to perform Hari Bhajan in any other species of life. श्री भगवान की इच्छा पर विश्वास एवं निर्भर रहकर चलना होगा. One should always be subservient to the will of Krishna. His arrangement is the best arrangement that can be made for any sincere sadhak. And this way, whatever ashanti is there in his life can be dispelled. Only by the causeless mercy of Bhagavan can sadhu sang be had. By serving sadhu guru Vaishnavas, advancement in bhakti is very easily had. But at the same time, if one is not careful and if he commits offenses at his lotus feet, then he will fall away from the path of bhakti. And by being an offender at the lotus feet of sadhu guru Vaishnavas, even Sri Hari will not forgive such a person. So one should be very careful in his dealings with the devotees. संसार में जीवन धारण करना सर्व प्रधान कर्तव्य है. Some people maintain their lives only to be absorbed in sansar, but such kind of life is useless. किंतु भगवान का भजन ही जीवन का सबसे प्रधान कर्तव्य है. The foremost duty of every living entity is भागवत भजन. यह सज्जन व्यक्ति ही समझते हैं. Only one who is decent, he will understand that Hari Bhajan is the essence of life. एवं जो साधु संग निष्कपट अंतर से विश्वास व श्रद्धा पूर्वक एकमात्र आत्मा कल्याण के लिए करते हैं, वे सज्जन व्यक्ति होते हैं. So who is a decent person in society is one who is trying to practice Hari Bhajan. All the others are indecent. जिस दिन संख्या नाम पूर्ण नहीं होगा, उस दिन नाम प्रभु के चरणों में क्षमा प्रार्थना कर दूसरे दिन बाकी संख्या पूर्ण करना उचित है. If you cannot finish your rounds in one day, then what should you do? you should fall at the feet of Nam Prabhu and ask for forgiveness. And whatever remaining rounds should be chanted, you should immediately chant during Brahma Muhurta of the next day. So this is a very important instruction. सब समय भगवान के स्मरण में मन को नियुक्त रखना ही प्रत्येक जीव मात्र के लिए उचित है. It is incumbent upon every living entity to spend every moment of his life in remembering Sri Hari. If the mind ever becomes restless, then remember Sri Hari who possesses such wonderful qualities like being merciful, like being known as the savior of the fallen. And by surrendering to him, the mind is automatically controlled. And certainly, the mercy of Sri Hari will be showered upon you. भगवान पूर्ण चैतन्य सर्वज्ञ एवं वंच कल्पतरु है. Bhagavan, he is the supreme sentient personality. He is all knowing. He is the fulfiller of all desires. हम सब की निष्कपट सेवा वृत्ति देकर वे तुरंत स्वभक्ति प्रदान कर सेवा ग्रहण करते हैं. If we are not hypocrites, if we have even a little sincerity within us, then He will surely bestow pure bhakti upon us. Every human being, according to his karma, either becomes wealthy or poor. But this is not the real meaning of life. What is the real meaning of being poor? One is poor if he doesn't have the association of the devotees, if he is not able to do Hari Bhajan. One who doesn't have the Sukriti, he is poor. Therefore, these are only very temporary. One should always not care for such wealth or poverty and only spend the rest of his life in Hari Bhajan, chanting Hari Nam. निष्कपट साधु संग से भगवान के भजन में मति लगती है, यह परम सत्य है. It is the topmost truth that by associating with the sadhus in a very honest way, sincere way, one's mind will automatically be absorbed in Bhagwan's lotus feet. यदि भगवान किसी जीवात्मा पर प्रसन्न हो तो वे अपने जन को बेचकर उसे अपना साधन संधान देते हुए श्री गुरुदेव के रूप में निज नाम एवं मंत्र दीक्षा देकर अपना कर लेते हैं. So if Bhagavan is really merciful upon one, he will send Sri Guru to him. And he will have that person receive initiation from Sri Guru. इसलिए भाग्यवान व्यक्ति ही भगवान के भजन में अपना जीवन समर्पित करते हैं. Therefore, one who is very fortunate will offer his life at the lotus feet of Sri Bhagavan. संसार भगवत विमुख जीवों का अपने अपने पाप एवं पुण्य कर्म फल भोग करने को आने जाने का स्टेशन. So here he's saying that in this worldly life, people, they meet so many different kinds of people. Means, when one is surrounded by family, friends, society, what does that imply? Just as one is in railway station, he sits for some time and he's surrounded by so many kinds of people. But eventually what will he have to do? He will have to set foot in another train and leave to his destination. He cannot stay in the railway station forever. So similarly he's saying here that whatever connections we have with family, friends, society, country, nation, all of that is temporary. One day we'll have to leave everything behind and proceed to our next destination. कृष्ण भक्त संग रहित कृष्ण कथा कृष्ण सेवा कृष्ण संबंध शून्य संसार ही नरक का द्वार है. What is hell? Hell is that place where there is no association of Krishna's devotees, where there is no Krishna seva, no Krishna katha, no Krishna kirtan. And that place which is full of the association of Krishna's devotees, full of Hari katha, full of kirtan, full of Krishna seva, that place is non-different from Golok Vrindavan. जीव नित्य कृष्ण दास है, इस संबंध में ज्ञान अभाव ही संसार है. What is ignorance? Is that if one forgets that he is Krishna's nitya das. So this is the last instruction. कृष्णा और भक्त सेवा में विषय वैभव में रति कम होती है. यह सेवा निष्कपट रूप से होना आवश्यक है. So here it said that even if one doesn't have so much money and wealth in serving Krishna and his devotees, no harm, no problem. इसलिए हरि कथा, हरि नाम, श्रवण कीर्तन एवं कृष्ण भक्त सेवा ही प्रत्येक मनुष्य का एकमात्र कर्तव्य है. Even if you don't have the wealth, even if you don't have the necessary facilities to serve the sadhus, don't worry about it. Just be in their presence, just listen to their Hari Katha, just engage in kirtan with them and serve them. This is the best service you can render to them, he's saying. So this way, today is Maharaj's Avirbhav Tithi. So by remembering these very wonderful associates of Srila Prabhupada, we can actually have Prema Bhakti. Why? Because they have given us so many wonderful instructions. And although we cannot follow all, like Maharaj has given more than 25 instructions, if we can follow even one, our lives will be successful. Like this last instruction, what is he saying? That the best kind of service you can possibly render to the devotees is to be in their presence, is to serve them, to engage in this Hari Katha, Kirtan, all the 9 limbs of Bhakti. By this everything can be had. So if we follow even this one instruction in our lives, we can have Prema Bhakti. And these personalities, they embody all these instructions. They are the very ideal of these instructions. It's very falling in the Lord's feet of this beloved associate of Srila Prabhupada. We can hope to offer our Pushpanjali at his Lord's feet and pray for his causeless mercy. Pujabhat Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Tadyavirbhav Priti Mahamotsav ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Saparikar Vrinda jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda jai. Srila Gurudev Param Gurudev Prabhupada Rupanagadi Guru Bharat ki jai. Samvay Shri Gaur Vrinda jai. Pitai Gaur Premanande